I mean, I had everything that I could possibly want. Except somebody at my side when he wasn't with me.
Your side?
My aching side. It's kind of funny now, but everything was perfect except I had a sense that creation wasn't finished. There was something missing. I wanted something else. I wanted someone else. I wanted somebody at my side when he wasn't with me. I wanted what God had, and I wanted what God was. A family.
A family?
You wanted to be God.
Well, explain that.
No, wait a minute. You're the one who wanted to be like God because the snake came along and told her she could be separate and powerful, but that's not what I wanted. At least not at first. I wanted what God had and I wanted what God was because God is a family.
A family.
He's not one. He's a relationship. Boy, I wrote a poem about that. It was the first poem ever written. Here, you want to hear it? I'll do it for you.
Let me hear it.
Oh, brother.
God is odd. He is three. God is odd. He's an odd number. He is three. A trinity. God is odd. He's three. See? It's deep.
Oh, everything's a joke to you.
Like our marriage.
What?
Speaking of which, you know the first thing I said to her when God made her? It was a palindrome. Same thing forwards as backwards. I said, madam, I'm Adam. My madam forwards is madam, I'm backwards. See?
And everything is a joke to you, Adam. You've been talking backwards, and you're still talking backwards.
Well, that reminds me of what happened on December 24th. On December 24th, I looked right at her and said, Merry Christmas, Eve.
I see he can be difficult.
Wait a minute, whose side do you want anyway?
He's on my side because I'm right.
And you came out of my side. Don't you forget it.
What does that mean, Adam? That Eve came out of your side?
It means I'm superior. It means I'm the prime specimen of humanity. That's what it means. I'm the original Ubermensch. Whatever that means. It means she's beneath me and you know about the Bible? You know what it says. Wives, submit to your husbands.
Here we go again.
Well, it's in the Bible. Wives, submit to your husbands. That's in the Bible, isn't it?
Ephesians chapter 5.
Is that in the Bible,
Yes.
Ephesians?
Yes.
So wives, submit to your husbands. You see, it's in the Bible.
Then Paul goes on to say, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved his church, giving up his life for her.
Come on, it's in there.
So Eve does not do what the Bible tells us a good wife should do. She does not submit to you. But do you follow the Bible? Do you act as a good husband should act? Do you love her as Christ loved his church, as St. Paul tells us you should? To the point of self-denial, self-abasement, self-sacrifice. Adam, do you love your wife to the point of death?
Oh, let me answer that one. The answer is no.
What do you mean, no?
No.
What do you mean, no?
Selfish.
Selfish? I've given up everything for you. The paradise, the garden, everything I've given up for you.
Don't give me that. You ain't from the apple too, bucko. You would 10 times rather sit for that stupid computer that said a word to me.
Well, I wouldn't need to be at that computer if you'd paid some attention to me. If maybe you were a little bit more...
What do you do in front of the computer, Adam?
Huh? What?
It's a simple question. What do you do in front of the computer?
That's not your business.
Adam, did you know that according to a recent survey, 50% of men who attend church every Sunday are addicted to pornography? That's not 50% of all men, Adam. That's not even 50% of Christian men. That's 50% of regular churchgoers, the cream of the crop. Every other man in the pews is addicted to pornography, most of it on the internet.
Well, so what? I mean, it doesn't hurt anybody.
It hurts me.
It hurts men and women more than they know. Why, it turns love into lust. It's more addictive than heroin. And like all drugs, the user builds up tolerance to it. It takes more and more porn, more shocking images, more degrading fantasies to have the same effect. And like all addictions, like all sin, it enslaves. Men become slaves to this sin in ways we cannot begin to imagine. But it perverts the true meaning of sex and converts our longings into cheap, harmful desires instead of what our longings are meant for.
Okay, great. So, what are our longings meant for?
Our hearts are restless until they rest in me. Augustine said that.
Augustine, he's a kid way after my time.
You have a problem, Adam.
Don't have a problem. I can stop anytime I wanted to.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say that.
You know, I'm tired of this being all about me. Let me tell you something, okay? Our longings are meant for God. Well, I don't long for God anymore, and I used to know Him personally. And I don't even think about Him hardly at all. But I tell you what I do think about. I think about how the Catholic Church needs to get its nose out of my bedroom. That's what I think about.
So what you're saying is sex is an entirely private matter.
Sex is between a man and his wife, or a man and his consenting partner. And those girls on the internet, they're consenting.
They're disgusting. And so are you. You're a married man and a dirty old man at the same time.
Oh, that reminds me. Did you know that they're coming out with a new girly magazine? It's only for married men. A girly magazine that's only for married men. Every month, the centerfold is the same darn woman.
You listen to me, Adam. No, you listen to me. No, you're going to listen.
Quiet! Both of you. I'd like to follow up on this. I'd like to ask a stupid question.
Fine. Ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. For example, stupid question, will you marry me?
Stupid answer. Yes.
You drive me crazy. You need to be quiet. That's what
You need to quit talking to yourself is what you need to do.
Please,
Yes, that's right.
please. Just for a moment, please be quiet.
Thank you. I've been wanting to say that for years.
The reason I need you to be quiet is so I can ask this question to Adam. A stupid question.
Okay.
Or at least it used to be a stupid question because everyone used to know the answer to it.
All right, doctor. What's the question?
Question is, Adam, what is the purpose of sex?
Let me think. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Got it! To have fun. What else? Come on.
Sex is for pleasure only. That's its only purpose.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what people do. People have sex. People make love.
On the contrary, love makes people.
Love makes people? What do you mean?
I can't believe how people of all ages have forgotten that these days. Sex makes people. Immortal souls. New life. You see, that's the purpose of sex. That plus the union of two bodies and souls in an ecstasy of self-giving.
So according to you, sex has two purposes: making babies and the union of two bodies and souls in a mutual ecstasy of self-giving.
That's correct.
Isn't that fun? I thought it was just for cheap thrills.
You are such a moron, Adam. You get that trash from the internet and the TV.
I wouldn't need that stuff if you made yourself at least attractive to a certain extent. But you don't do that. Oh yeah, I rushed all those things, and it's your fault. You do nothing to make yourself attractive, Eve. Nothing.
Oh, and like you do? You are nothing but a lazy old man.
Oh yeah, I'm old. I'm really old. I am so old. Wow. Ask me how old I am, doctor. Ask me.
Don't ask him.
I'm so old that the other day Eve said, Adam, let's go upstairs and make love. And I said, I can't do both.
Love is not just made in the bedroom, Adam.
What?
It's made everywhere, in ordinary things, in ordinary ways. If you don't show your wife tenderness and affection throughout the ordinary things of the day, your physical love becomes separated from your desire for her. Love is made in the kitchen, in the living room, driving the kids to school.
What point are you making? I don't care what room we go to.
You don't care, do you? You don't care about anything except the internet, the computer, and yourself.
Oh, and your point, madam? And your point?
Let's return to my point. You asked me what point I was
Oh,
making.
it's time. We're paying you then? Tell us, what's your point?
My point is, we've forgotten the point
Forgotten.
about sex, especially since the pill. It's much like Peter Craig wrote. Contraceptive sex is exactly like redesigning the Mass, so that you put a condom over the priest's mouth when he's about to say, "This is my body." So Jesus can't come and create the miracle of transubstantiation. Because you don't want that new life. All you want is the thrill of playing at it. That's what contraception is. It's putting a condom on God. Putting a barrier or diaphragm between God and the miracle he might otherwise perform in you. That's my point.
What kind of therapist are you anyway? I mean, how long have you been doing this?
About 1,700 years.
What?
Eve, I have a question.
No, Eve. Listen. I think we've been here long enough. Let's just quietly go. Okay? Quietly.
Adam, I'm staying here, and you're going to sit right in this chair and stay here for 10 more minutes.
That's crazy. She's been a therapist for 1,700 years. We're paying her money. I'm not staying. Give me one reason why I should stay. Give me one reason.
Because we have to pay for a full hour, even if we leave early.
Oh.
All right, doctor. I'm ready. What's your question?
What was it like?
What was what like?
The garden. Adam here has told us a bit about life in the garden, but you haven't said much about that.
Well, that's because Adam's always looking backward. He's longing for it. I've moved on. I'm looking forward.
Why is that?
Because I hold the promise, doctor.
What promise?
God told me that from me will come the one who will crush the head of the serpent.
Indeed, it was a child of Eve who crushed the serpent. It was the Son of Man.
Yeah, well, my hopes were dashed.
What do you mean?
Our kids didn't turn out so well.
What happened?
You know, boys will be boys.
One killed the other. Cain murdered Abel. Do you know how that makes a mother feel?
Well, there were many problems from the first family to the Holy Family. Just look at the direct ancestry of Jesus. It includes Judah, who sired a child with his daughter-in-law, thinking she was a roadside prostitute. David, who fathered one of Jesus' great-grandfathers by sleeping with a woman who was married to another man. A man he also murdered. And in a sense, the entire people of Israel, who kept rejecting God's grace and turning their backs on his salvation again and again throughout their long history. And yet, from such humble and even shameful origins came the man who was to save us, the man who was also God.
Okay, look. It's obvious that you know a lot about the Bible, you know a lot about God. You sure know a lot about the church and what it teaches about sex, which incidentally is the one place where the church is always wrong. But you don't know everything. I've been at this a lot longer than you have, you see? A lot longer than 1,700 years. And you don't get it. You make it sound like things are better, or they're getting better, or God made them better, but that's not the case. Take it from me. Whatever God did or didn't do, whatever man did or didn't do, whatever Christ did or didn't do, none of it matters. I've got scripture to back me up. In the beginning, God made the world and rested. Then God made man and rested. Then God made woman. And neither God nor man has rested since. The book of Adam, 1:1.
I hate you! I absolutely hate you!
We are getting our money's worth. Let me tell you something. Your therapy is really working. It's opened up avenues of communication. We realize we have a lot in common. Mutual animosity, for one thing.
How can you say that nothing God does matters?
Eve, look around. Are people any better now in 2012 AD than they were in our day, 2 million and something BC?
Yes.
What? Yes?
Yes, the answer is yes. Think about it. The pagan world was based upon cruelty and slavery. The Christian world is taught freedom and charity.
You don't get it. People are no better now than they were then. I mean, I walked with God. In the garden, I hardly even think about it now. And these days, it's even worse. These days, most people don't even believe he exists.
Well, I don't see how it's come to this.
I don't understand. You don't see how what's come to this, the world or your marriage?
Both. I don't see how the world has come to this, and I don't see how our marriage has come to this. It's the same thing.
Well, it is the same thing. For the world is based upon the family.
What do you mean?
Think of it this way. Our bodies are made up of cells. A cell is an organized unit of matter, right? A one composed of many. A unity of diversity playing its role in the function of the whole.
Right. What's he talking about?
I have no idea.
What I'm trying to say is that just as our bodies are made up of cells, so the body of Christ is made up of cells. Families. Groups of people permanently joined in love, playing their role in the function of the whole.
Cells and bodies. Are you a biologist or a psychologist?
Well, I'm a priest.
A priest?
That's right.
But you don't dress like a priest.
We didn't wear the collar in my day.
Your day? When was your day?
But we'll get back to that in a moment. Now, I'd like to follow up on something. Now, did you know that between 1950 and 1995, the suicide rates for young people in the United States increased dramatically?
I'm not surprised. The world's a pretty messed up place. I wouldn't be surprised if that rate had doubled by now.
The amazing thing is that it tripled. But suicide is still very rare, far less than 1% of the population. And yet, what would the two of you say if a full 1% of the population committed suicide? I'll even go better than that. What would you say if 10%? Or 20? What would you say if a full 50% of people killed themselves?
Well, I'd say that society was self-destructing.
It is.
It is?
Of course it is. Think about it. Today, 50% of all marriages end in divorce. Divorce is suicide on a family level. Don't you understand? It destroys the family, breaks the most solemn vow a man or a woman make in their lives. A vow to one's other self. The other half of the one flesh the husband and wife have become. It messes up the children and destroys the most primary unit of love.
Yeah, but sometimes it can't be avoided.
Sometimes it's the only solution.
Oh, it's a solution, all right. A dissolution, a solvent, an acid that eats away at everything.
All right, listen, doctor or father or whoever you are, I appreciate your passion, but don't be naive. I mean, come on. For one thing, there's no reason why I can't divorce Eve and marry another woman. It's sensible.
It's superstitious.
Superstitious?
Yes, superstitious. To think that a solemn vow to live till death do us part with your first wife can be set aside or broken by a ritual in a law court? To think that a man can break a vow and make it again afresh to remarry? To be forsworn on one altar and sworn on another? It's superstitious.
Yeah, but people are happier when they divorce and remarry.
Maybe, maybe not. But Christ clearly stated that anyone who divorces his spouse and marries another is guilty of adultery. It's in 3 of the 4 Gospels. Christ didn't take a very kind view toward divorce and remarriage, and neither does his church.
Oh, you're right there. Oh, the Catholic Church hates divorce and remarriage. Exactly. Bingo! They hate it in every case except when it comes to the Kennedys.
Will you quit being so negative?
I'm just being honest.
You don't know anything about marriage.
Oh, and you do.
Why, yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I believe that marriage is one of God's greatest gifts.
One of God's greatest gifts. Oh, if that's the case, then divorce is a bad idea. And adultery is a bad idea. And pornography is a bad idea.
Yes.
And one man marrying another man is a bad
No,
idea.
wait a minute. I believe in gay marriage. I am tolerant.
You're sick. I mean, come on. People have been doing disgusting things with their private parts ever since Sodom and Gomorrah. There's lots of words for that, but one of them sure the heck ain't marriage.
Well, I do not believe that gay people should be persecuted. I believe that they should be free to get married.
Well, I agree they shouldn't be persecuted, but they're no more free to get married than I am to flap my arms and fly to the moon.
And what do you mean by that?
I'll ask you a question and it'll illustrate it, okay? How many legs does a dog have if you call the tail a leg?
5.
Wrong. 4. You can call the tail a leg, but that doesn't make it a leg.
But, Adam, when 2 men really love each other...
They wouldn't do the kind of stuff you're talking about. That ain't love, sweetie.
Oh, and as if you know anything about love...
I'm a very loving person.
No, you're not. Because if you were, you would allow for gay people to get married. I mean, they cannot help how they are. It is part of their nature, Adam.
Nature?
Yes!
You don't even believe in nature.
I do so. I love nature.
You do not. This whole argument is about the nature of marriage. You don't think marriage has a nature. I say it's between one man and one woman. He says it's all about love and babies and never divorcing. Either way, this is an argument about nature, the nature of marriage.
Marriage is what we make it. It has no nature.
See this thing?
Yes.
I happen to know one part of this book here, okay? Jesus said to the Pharisees, the baptism of John, is it of God or of man? They wouldn't answer. So I'm going to ask you, my lovely wife, marriage, the sacrament of marriage, is it from heaven or from men? Is it of God or is it of us? If it's of us, yeah, we can do whatever we want with it, but wait a minute. What if it's from God?
Adam, you're starting to make sense.
How can you say that? He's the most senseless man I know.
All right then. If that's the way you feel and you won't answer the question, I'll just have to ask it again. Is marriage from heaven or is it from man?
It's from men. It's just a social institution, nothing more.
But earlier you said it was one of God's greatest gifts.
Will you quit changing the subject? Adam, you asked me a question, I'm going to answer that question. The answer is marriage is what we make it.
Well, then why don't you make ours a little bit more like a real marriage? If you believe in love and marriage so much, why don't you prove it?
How?
Spend one night at home.
Adam, are you saying that Eve does not spend the night at home with you? That she sleeps elsewhere?
No, she sleeps at home. But why don't you ask where she spends every evening, every morning, every afternoon, every waking moment. Go ahead, tell them.
I volunteer at the church.
That's right. And you have lunch with your friends. Oh, and you help with the fundraisers. And you're at the fish fry. And you're shopping. And you're chatting. And you're talking. And you're never with me. Every purpose, every person, everything but home and the family. You're sick. You're addicted to over-volunteering. You're addicted to constant activity. It's an addiction, a sickness.
I do it because I enjoy it. And you know what? I can give it up anytime I want to.
Well, I've heard that before. In fact, I've said that before.
You're just trying to get me down, Adam. That's what you're trying to do. You're like all those men. You're out to bully. You're out to control. You're out to narrow down our lives and our choices.
Yeah.
That's what you're after.
All right, look. You think staying at home and being a wife and mother is narrow? And that big world out there where I have to work for a living because I left the garden and I had to? You think that's wide and vast? I'm a man. I know about that world. It's the most narrow, cramped, confining place you can imagine.